What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about Meta stock and how I see Meta for the next couple of months and years. Okay, so my last big purchase of Meta was in around October 2022, when price was around $100 a share. Okay, now one thing I regret is selling at double the price. So at 200, around the 200 mark, I sold all my stock, and from that moment on, I regret selling it. Okay, and one reason is I didn't believe in the long term in the vision, and I just believed in the profit. Okay, so that is one thing for you guys to understand when you're starting out is forget profit, forget percentages. If you're looking to invest, look at the companies. Okay, look at overall business itself and not just the money. All right. So one thing is, if I had bought more shares around here, I would have done two things different. Okay, so I bought and sold at I bought at 100, sold at 200, and what I would have done was um, exited some shares at around the 200 mark, and then the next couple of other shares I would have sold at here around the 300 mark, which was the previous all-time highs, and then the rest I would have just let it inside the account, you know, basically not touching it, not moving a finger, not moving, not buying or selling, not doing anything until I am retired with that account. Okay, which was not the case. I sold it, but that's the past. What we can do looking forward is what we have to pay attention to. Okay, so right now Meta is around $733. If I drop down the time frame to the 1 week time frame, I see that we are same in the same area of the previous all-time highs, which was when we basically had a huge drop from the 700s all the way down to the 400 mark, the 480. So we dropped about 34% on this drop, and then from that moment on, this was right here. From this moment on, we just made back a return of a little bit over 50% on the stock. Okay. So one thing for you guys to keep in mind is I always say this. If you're new to the channel, it's going to be the first time you're hearing this. If not, I've already talked about this before. If you're looking to invest money into this stock, and you're buying it right now where it's a high point in the market, just put 10% or a small percentage of that money that you have saved up into it right now. And then this is what you should be doing, which is buying when price drops. So as soon as price hits, let's just say around the 675, you put a little bit more inside the stock. As soon as price hits that 600 mark, you put a little bit more inside the stock. As soon as the price hits 525, you put more into the stock. You dollar cost average when price is coming down. Or if we do end up going higher, which is something that happened right here when we were on this high, and then we moved to the right, and then we were basically in the same area of the high. So right here, so let me just do this. Yes, same area right here. So we have couple confirmations for you to keep buying the stock, which is the moving average, which is there's no basically lower low or lower high. We're just moving up. You should have done something like this, which is buying at 400, let's just say 425, and then 460 again until price keeps going higher. So if we do end up basically breaking this resistance on the left and keep going higher, this is what I would think would be a good thing to do, which is, let's just say, again, you put that 10% or lower percentage of that account that you have, and then you buy again at 765, 800, and then you keep buying when price is going higher. But the risk is if we do move higher, like something like this, let's just say, and then we crash, you need to have money to buy at lower prices. This is what I always say. Never lock all your money into one trade. Never lock all your money into one stock or one crypto. Always have money on the side, basically just cash. Okay. So if price ends up falling, that is what you should be doing after, which is buying the dips until we end up moving higher and higher again. All right. So this is it for Meta. I'm gonna compare a couple other companies just to see where we are. But again, Meta is at all-time highs, so I don't think it's the best opportunity for you to be buying at all-time highs. But let's just find one that basically would be a good buying opportunity for you to enter your money. Okay, so I have Apple as the next one. Apple's sitting at 200 for quite some time. Um, I think Apple is a good buy long term, and it looks like we could be going higher like this on a trend line, but we're still trading below the moving average. Okay, so I think when Apple releases something new, again, this is more like on the electronic side if they have anything new, but it seems that it does this for quite some time, like goes sideways or doesn't really do anything for quite some time, which is where we are right now. And then suddenly after, boom, gap up, boom, price moves up, and then we would see some boom price moving up above the 220, 230, 240 area. Okay. The next up, I have Microsoft, which is a software company. Yeah, now this is all-time highs too. So it's the same system that I would use for Meta, I'll use for Microsoft. I would probably not enter Microsoft right now since it's at 495. But again, if you believe that this is going to 1,000, maybe you should be buying. But again, this is just my thought and my analysis. So your all-time highs right here. This was around the April area, I believe. Yeah, March, April was the best time. This took a good fall from the, just go from this high, took a good fall, a 20% fall. So that's when you should be entering the market more aggressively. So let's just say we were at this high for, in January we were at this high, and then you decide to enter with 10% of your position right now, 10% as an example. And then when price dips, let's just say breaks below this previous low over here. Let me zoom in a little bit. Breaks below this low over here, just right here. Boom. I decide to enter with 10% more. And then right after, let's just say right at this zone over here around the 370s, I decide to enter 370s with 10% more. So you have 30% spread out into this account. And then if price moves higher, just the bottom position, you are now up about 30% on that trade. Okay. On that investment or whatever it is. So this is how I would calculate it. Could be less than 10%, could be more, but I would dollar cost average on the way down, and probably if it's like something like right here, I'll dollar cost average going higher, 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 like that. All right. So next up is Amazon, AMZN. Amazon is not on all-time highs, but we do have this high to be watching out for. Looks like we're climbing all the way to the 240 range. So if we do come up to the 240, again, same system. We could reverse, or we could break above, make some kind of retest, and then move higher. So Amazon is still at around 220. So we have something like, let's say, 7% to go higher. Again, same system. Next up is Netflix. I know that Netflix is all-time highs right now. And I did short Netflix when it was around this like 1,000 level over here. Exited about at around 800 ish, around like here, exited around the high 800s, and then didn't buy back again. Um, but we are from this previous low over here, we are up at around 60% in just couple of months. This is insane for a stock like Netflix. And if we do keep going higher, this is just going to be an insane trade. um from April, May, so this was the lowest. So April 2022, and like I always say, if you're looking to invest, should be something like months and years. Like this, from 2022 to now, we have gone up about 600%. All right, this is just insane. Next up, Nvidia. I think Nvidia just broke the all-time high. So like I say, this is the all-time highs right here. Boom, all-time highs. And then we made a huge drop all the way to the 90s area. And then again, you should be entering, I didn't enter, should be entering um Nvidia going higher. This is what I'll say. This is the dip that you should be buying, and not right now when it's 150 $160 a share. Should be entering at around the 90s, right? Some people, well, most people get it wrong. They are scared to buy when price is low, and they are happy to buy when price is high. Okay, so for Nvidia, I think either we keep going higher. They are just releasing good news. This is an AI chips company. They keep releasing good news and after good news, so they keep going higher. Awesome for them. All right, this is the moment where you should be entering a position, is right over here on the bottom. Right. Next up, we have Snap. Snap is the parent company of Snapchat. Um, it's trading at $8 right now, almost nine. And to me, if I look at something like this, I'll probably do this. I'll probably put a small percentage of my money into Snapchat if I believe on the business, if I believe on the long term of it. It is a stock I just added to my watch list. So this is again a parent company of Snapchat. If I go to the monthly time frame, this is something like I say, for a good buy. It's not when price is at the highest of the highs. If you just wait it out months, weeks, months, and years for this company to be at the lowest point, and then you believe in a company, you are into it, and you see people talking about it, I would probably wait a little bit more to enter a position on this. But if you're looking good, if you're the company is looking good overall, it will be an insane opportunity for you to be entering, because the previous highest point was right over here. We have a couple of highs over here also breaking. So if we look at percentages, uh, we go from this 9 all the way, that's 40% to $12, and then that is an extra 90% to the 16. If we keep coming higher, let's just say all the way to the $20 a share, if we break this previous high, if we end up breaking this previous high, we are looking at something like $20 a share, 130% over a couple of months or years on your money. All right. So Snapchat is at the lowest point. Again, I would do the same system. I would put small percentage of my money, forget about it, and then see if stock is, track it for weeks and months, see if the stock's moving higher or if the stock is moving lower, and then probably either risk that money and take it off as a loss, or I'll double my money in a couple of months. Right. Next up we have is TWTR, which is Twitter, which is now X. Again, great company. and we are about $53 a share. This would be the highest of the, you know, highest overall. All-time high is around $8 a share. This would be the low. We are right in between. So if you're looking to go from this point we are right now to the all-time highs, we're looking at a 50% discount right now from all-time highs. Okay. Um, Same thing I would do for Twitter. Probably enter for 5 to 7%, or even lower than that of an account size. And then if stock just drops 30%, which I think will be hard, but we never know. But if stocks just drops 34%, and then I end up entering at this level of $35 a share. If I go to the all-time highs again, I'm looking at a $126, 126% gain on the money. Okay, so this is it for this video. I basically wanted to talk about what you should do or what strategy you should have. Now, this is my way of doing it. This is my way of viewing how things work. And it's not that I'm a professional. It's not that I know what I'm doing. This is just how I choose to look at things, right? You decide to enter for, let's see if this makes sense, right? You decide to enter for, um, for a buy at around $700, but you didn't decide to enter for a buy at $400. Doesn't make sense, right? So if stock is moving higher, I'd rather buy a stock that is, at a very low. So $8 a share, or what was the next? The other one was Apple, which was around a $200 a share, and there's still some good upside for this, right? Rather than entering for putting my money in a stock where it's all time highs and it can drop, or basically have a good correction, right? This took about 60 days, so about 2 months to correct. And then from April to now, that's another 2 months, right? So that's 2 months of waiting for price to make a huge correction. So a huge, something like 34% correction for you to enter a trade. And 2 months later, you have a 50% win on a stock. All right. So this is it for the video. Thank you guys for watching, and see you guys on the next one.